themes as they are inherent in our society. I think it's ridiculous that drama, which by its very nature should make a comment on those things that affect our daily lives, is in the position, at least in terms of television drama, of not being able to take this stand. But these are the facts of life. This is the way it exists. And they can't look to me or Shaefsky or Rose or Gore Vidal or J.P. Miller or any of these guys as the precipitators of the big change. It's not for us to do it.
Of course, Shaefsky got out of television.
Yeah, he did, and I can't knock that. I think this takes a relative degree of guts to leave a medium that's made you as sociable, as a kind of a household name. Patty was the first guy to kind of lend stature to the television writer. Prior to Patty Shaefsky, most of us were considered to be two-headed hacks who worked around the clock and used boy-girl situations in any one of 5,000 different routine manners. But Patty gave us a stature, and I respect Patty's decision to leave. He felt that he wasn't satisfied with doing things half-best.
Do you think you could make it outside of television?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could. And I suppose this is an admission of a kind of weakness, or at least a sense of insecurity on my part. I've never had a Broadway play produced. What few motion pictures I've written have been somewhat less than spectacular. And I suppose I stay in the medium partly as an admission of I want to stay in the womb. This is the medium I understand. These are the tools and techniques that I've been versed in for many years. Maybe I don't want to, get stuck up on the board and get shot at with darts in a Broadway play when I'm not sure I'm prepared for it. But Patty was willing to take the chance. Gore Vidal writes novels. Bob Arthur did Broadway.
What about you in novels?
Ultimately, I'd love to write a novel, and I think next year I'll start my play. Requiem was under option. It was written as a play, and I gave them their money back, and I want to do it over again. But I stay in the medium also because I happen to like the medium.
Herb Brodkin, who was a TV producer who was associated with some of your earlier plays, has said this about you. He said, Rod is either going to stay commercial or become a discerning artist, but not both.
I remember the quote. He gave it to Gilbert Milstein when Milstein was doing a profile on me in the New York Times. I didn't understand it at the time. I failed to achieve any degree of understanding in the ensuing years, which are 3 in number. I presume Herb means that inherently you cannot be commercial and artistic. You cannot be commercial and quality. You cannot be commercial concurrent with having a preoccupation with the level of storytelling that you want to achieve. And this I have to reject. I think you can be, I don't think calling something commercial tags it with a kind of an odious suggestion that it stinks, that it's something raunchy to be ashamed of. I don't think if you say commercial means to be publicly acceptable, what's wrong with that? As long, the essence of my argument, Mike, is that as long as you are not ashamed of anything you write, if you're a writer, as long as you're not ashamed of anything you perform if you're an actor, and I'm not ashamed of doing a television series. I could have done probably 30 or 40 film series over the past 5 years. I presume at least I've turned down that many, with great guarantees of cash, with great guarantees of financial security, but I've turned them down because I didn't like them. I did not think they were quality, and God knows they were commercial. But I think innate in what Herb says is this suggestion made by many people that you can't have public acceptance and still be artistic. And as I say, I have to reject that.
One of your most recent plays was one called The Velvet Alley, right?
Right.
It was about the corrupting influences of Hollywood and big money.
Right.
Where'd that come from? Your own experiences?
Part of it was very autobiographical. Part of it was a composite of observation of other people involved.
Well, what do you mean by the corrupting influence of Hollywood and big money? What is that? What are you saying?
I didn't mean to suggest that corruption had a geographical tag, that it was necessarily the corruption of Hollywood. What I tried to suggest dramatically was that when you get into the big money, particularly in the kind of detonating, exciting, explosive, overnight way that our industry permits, there are certain blandishments that a guy can succumb to, and many do.
Such as?
A preoccupation with status, with the symbols of status.